Good morning, students. Today we are going to see the subtopic of Unit 1, that is Introduction, the basics of climate change science, climate in the spotlight. As I told you at the introduction class, what is the necessity of studying the global climate change? Because this has been changing for the last 3 to 4 decades, the climate has been changing, which will affect the human day-to-day activities, and obviously the sustainability, the ecosystem is getting affected, and the sustainability is could not be maintained. Okay, so what first and foremost we should know the differences between what is climate and what is weather. So and the very good example I can say, based on the 30 years data, we could be able to see the weather winter season or the rainy season may occur during the month of October and November. Winter may comes on December on first middle of January until middle of January in subtropical countries like India, especially in India. But northern is will be very chill, actually cold during winter season when compared to south, and this all been data which has been collected for a period of duration, whereas the weather will be slightly for during a morning it may be a summer, I mean very hot, and then suddenly it will drizzling at the evening. Okay, so the climate is what you expect, and what is the real scenario, that is called weather. So you should understand the difference between the weather and climate. What is climate? Climate, it is a long-term average of atmospheric condition, temperature, humidity, precipitation, wind, etc. at a specific location. Whereas weather, it is a atmospheric condition over a short period, hours to days. And coming to the climate zones, we have divided into different types: tropical rainy, dry, warm temperature rainy, boreal, ice snows climate. So actually you could able to see this ice climate are the some part of Russia, the polar region. Okay, and the what you called in like what you called in Canada or even in France. Okay, you could able to see the snow climate and Denmark and the Iceland and things like that. Okay, so the tropical rainy in our region we could able to see in some tropical country. I mean the countries which have been lying on the equator. Okay, so dry, warm, temperature, rainy. These are the types of climate zones. Classification based on factors like temperature, precipitation, and vegetation. Okay, this climate is based on the factors like temperature, precipitation, that is a rainy, okay, and vegetation. And coming to the next part, why do climate differ? Unequal distribution of solar radiation. So the solar radiation will not fall everywhere the same amount of radiation, because the earth is rotate, I mean what you call inclined, okay, to 23 degrees Celsius, that you might have studied actually during your school days. And geographical factors like continents, oceans, and mountains. Okay, pressure and wind systems, ocean current, and altitude. So these are the reason for why the climate differs. They may ask you explain about the why the climate differs in different parts of the country or different regions. Okay, or different continents. So you can say, because most of the time this climate, for example, if you see the Indian subtropical countries, we will find the same type of climate, but it's not very what you call it, we don't find snow unless you go to Kashmir or some things like that. Okay, so otherwise they are, we used to call it sub continent. Okay, Asia. In Asia we have a subcontinent. India is a subcontinent. We have a vast area. Even in Russia or US, you will find two different climates. Okay, one side will be very cold, one side will be very hot, and things like that. Okay, this all happens because of the unequal distribution of solar radiation, geographical factors like continent, oceans, and mountains, pressure and wind systems, and ocean currents and altitudes. Okay, the height. As we go to, for example, Bangalore, it is above 960 kilometer above the ground sea level. Obviously, you will find very chillness. Doing right now, actually, the Bangalore become very hard because of we have cut down the trees and things like that. Because of that factors also is a main important for the climate change. Okay, and coming to the earth energy balance, solar radiation is the primary energy source, as you know. Why the solar radiation nowadays? The China has created a artificial sun. which is around 5500 to 6000 degrees Celsius. Okay, and they could be able to maintain for more than 5 minutes, I believe. Okay, so please go and refer back the things which has been available. I mean, day-to-day activities. What is going on in Earth? By reading the newspapers or by watching the videos in YouTube. Okay, the news and things like that. So you need to update it. Okay, so the global climate change is not suddenly happening because of one action. It is a cumulative action, consequences. Okay, this is a consequence of cumulative action. That's what I would like to say. Earth energy balance. Solar radiation is the primary energy source. The Earth energy budget, balance of absorbed sunlight and ongoing heat, greenhouse effect, maintains Earth livable temperature. Coming to the greenhouse effect, because due to industrialization, we have been producing a lot of greenhouse gases. Okay, like carbon monoxide, methane, carbon dioxide, and so on and so forth. Because of that, what will happen is when the solar radiation enters the Earth atmosphere, it will what you call it will absorb and reflect back on the Earth surface itself. Okay, because of that, many countries like China, even India, have been trying to target to have a zero emission. Okay, zero carbon footprint, but they are moving forward towards that. But industrialization, because of that, this human activities are the industrialization. Okay, what happens actually, it became a greenhouse gases has been emitted very larger in quantity. Obviously, the carbon footprint increases. Because of that, gases could able to absorb the solar radiation and reflect back again back to the earth. Otherwise, obviously, by natural means, it will not get heated up. Okay, very to higher altitude. But as I told you at the beginning of the class, almost 1.8 degrees Celsius has been increased every year because of the this human-made activities. Okay, so we need to look into the things and then try to find the solution for that, how to overcome this rise in temperature. That's why we are studying all this particular subject. Okay, coming to the greenhouse effect. The greenhouse gases trap the infrared radiation. Okay, carbon dioxide, methane, water vapor, and nitrous oxide. Essential for life. Without it, Earth would be 33 degrees Celsius cooler. Okay, so hope you understood what I am trying to say. These are the things is be acted because of the human activities which has been happened. Otherwise, the sustainability we need to make could not be maintained if you keep on doing this type of emissions. Okay, so when you see here greenhouse gases, what is the effect of this particular types of greenhouse gases? Effect on warming. Okay, so the carbon dioxide, fossil has been produced from the sources like fossil fuels, deforestation, effect on warming very strong, and methane, livestock, rice waste, and it is methane is more powerful than the carbon dioxide 20 times. Just imagine that is in terms of effect on warming. And nitrous oxide is 200 times toxic. I mean, have more effect on environment. Okay, compared to the carbon dioxide, 200 times. Imagine water vapor, feedback amplifier. Okay, the natural cycle. So these are the things actually. So the greenhouse, not only the greenhouse gases, because of what you call other activities. I mean, other human-made activities also. What you call yet, the earth is getting heated up. Okay, so that you should be very careful on that. Okay, yeah, the carbon footprint they are talking about. Okay, greenhouse gases, carbon dioxide, methane, and things like that. Okay. Coming to the carbon cycle, describe the movement of carbon among atmosphere, oceans, living things, and rocks. Human activities add extra carbon dioxide, obstructing the natural cycle. The hydrological cycle, evaporation, condensation, precipitation moves faster through systems. Changes in climate impact rainfall and water availability. So the hydrological cycle, these are natural occurring things actually, because of solar radiation, the from the ocean is getting heated up, the surface of the water is getting evaporated, and it will form clouds. Okay, on the sky, and it will get precipitated as a rain. Okay, drizzling, it may drizzle or heavy rain may takes place. Okay, sometimes the people are talking about acid rain. I think acid rain is a thing concept you're supposed to know aware of it. Because of the emission from the industry, what happened, the water vapor which is present in the condensed form in as a cloud. Okay, when it pours actually falls as a acid. because it form a nitric acid or sulfuric acid because of the presence of an, N2O, okay, NO2, so nitrogen dioxide and sulfur dioxide, okay, NOx and SOx. Okay, so you should aware of the all these things. Okay, so otherwise it become the globe become a non-suitable place for the inhabitants. Okay, inhabitants. Okay, we humans especially. Earth is not only meant for the human; it also meant for all living beings. Just imagine. Okay, even man is getting affected. Obviously, the small living creatures like what you call aquatic lives and the birds, vegetations like plants and things also will get affected. It is not suitable for even for because we also depend on the other things, other living beings. Okay, because it's a ecosystem, right? It's a ecosystem. Changes in climate impact rainfall and water availability. So, for example, if it is very rainy, it's not only a climate which we are talking about very hard. Even if it is a over rainfall, okay, what will happen? There may be a cause of heavy flooding. The low-lying countries may be getting submerged. Okay, because of the global climate change also, where the snow is getting what do you call it, melted, the low lying countries will get affected, right? So obviously the same things. Okay, so this all depends on the ecosystem. We all depends on the ecosystem. Okay, that's what I like to say. Natural with human driven change, natural factors, volcanic eruptions, solar cycles, orbital changes, continental drift. Okay, because of the volcanic eruptions, this is very common in Indonesia region. Okay, and there is a earthquake which has happened some few days before in Russia in a Richter scale of 8.3 and things like that, right? So you should understand what why this is happening. Okay, so naturally we could not able to go and play with the natural things. Okay, the volcanic eruptions or the earthquake is naturally occurring, but sometimes what will happen because because of the human made activities, this natural things frequently may occur. We should not make the push the things in the worst case. Okay, that's what we are just trying to say. Whatever the activities we do, make sure this is this has been retained back the what do you call recover back. Okay, for example, I would give an example. If a wastewater has been discharged into a seawater river, and the river has the capability to what you call regenerate the things. Okay, otherwise what will happen? If you keep on sending concentrated water, okay, the water become very what you call blackish and you could not be able to recover back. Okay, so by natural means, for example, if you people have we are taking bath and the soap water is being mixed with the river water, after it has been passing through downstream for 2 kilometers or 3 kilometers, the soap materials obviously will be recovered by the river water itself. Okay, that means the contaminants will be recovered back, regenerated his own position and own quality. Okay, if it is a very toxic chemicals that you are discharging into the river water, what will happen after some time? It could not able to withstand that particular waste which has been dumped into that particular river water. Obviously, it could not regenerate it. Okay, regenerate. So, for example, what you call in Chennai, you have a what do you call that? This type of a lot of rivers is there, right? So that is not a retained back, recovered back because of this human activities. Okay, you should be very careful in doing that type of things. That's why we have the Central Pollution Control Board, State Pollution Control Board, which will monitor the discharge of the industries. Okay, so what is the level is supposed to be there? Even in high-rise building like a residential area, the people have been having a wastewater treatment plant inside the residential area. So before they discharge the wastewater into a sewer line, we should have a certain standard. Okay, otherwise what will happen? The river water is getting polluted. Okay, because of human activities, it should not affect the environment. So this all leads to a what is called changes in climate. Okay, so or else the people could not able to withstand what you call could not able to live in a sustainable environment. Okay, so human activities, burning fossil fuels, land use changes, deforestation, cause rapid unprecedented changes. So burning fossil fuels. So we have been using fossil fuels for what you call for transportation. Okay, for crude oil we are using it. So just burning the fossil fuels, land use changes, deforestation. If you cut the forest, as I told you in Bangalore, lot of trees was there, and because of the thing, okay, the climate has been increased. cause rapid unprecedented changes. So you should understand the impact of it. Evidence of past climate change, ice ages, warm periods throughout Earth history, little ice age and medieval warm period, modern warming is faster and widespread. 20 and 21st climate change in the spotlight, rapid rises in global average temperature of approximately 1 degree. So here since pre-industrial era. So as I told you, every year it has been noted that 1.8 degrees Celsius is getting heated up. Okay, melting glaciers, shifting weather patterns, sea level rise. Okay, so because of this, all happened because of the human activities. Role of Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change (IPCC). So in the reference book we have seen actually the IPCC, Intergovernmental Panel, okay, on climate change. So we have a system to monitor the climate change, and they will give the advice actually what are the things we need to do, what are the things we need to mitigate. Okay, even if you have the activities, how to recover back this particular thing. For example, we are any active any conversion. Okay, for example, we could not be able to stop the industrialization. Okay, but at the same time, whatever the industrialization we are doing for the benefit of human, at the same time we should protect the environment. That is very very important, because that is the thing. சுவர் இருந்தாலும் சித்திர வரைய முடியும். So we should have a earth, and otherwise what will happen? If it is not suitable for our place to live, then where will we go? That's why the Elon Musk has been searching for another planet to live peacefully, and he is going and trying to find it out in the Mars. But ultimately, the vegetation and the carbon dioxide percentage in the Mars is a very difficult to make the new human to go and survive there. Okay, that's why the people have been doing a lot of research how to reduce the carbon dioxide, how to generate oxygen in that particular atmosphere like Mars. Okay, so this is another thing. That is another approach. Okay, if we make them, the Earth itself is not suitable for living, we need to find an alternate place to make us to go and live there, right? Otherwise, we could not able to destroy ourselves, right? So but the activities whatever we are doing will make us to make the earth in a not suitable condition, so that the human could not able to survive in that. Okay, hope you understood what I am trying to say. So these are the things you need to see very logically, critically, and at the same time the activities, the human activities is needed, because what all I mean what are human activities, what I mean is that product which we are manufacturing, that is needed, but at the same time we should not affect the environment. That is very very important. So the global climate change is a very big scenario. People have been talking in the United Nations, okay, and things like that. Please go and read the current scenarios and things like that. Okay, so summarize the impact, adaptation and mitigation strategies established by the UN, from produces periodic assessment report used globally. Okay, for example, the one country is producing a lot of carbon footprint, and they are not signing off a treaty like Montreal Protocol. Okay, so the global emission. Okay, so Kyoto Protocol, Montreal Protocol, and things like that. Just go and see what are this protocol, what they want to see, because it's a contribution. It's not one country says that I want to produce a lot of carbon footprint. I mean, because of my industrialization, carbon footprint, I don't want to treat it. It's not because the countries which are nearby is also getting affected. Please keep in mind. So, for example, I can give a very realistic examples. When I was in Malaysia, the Indonesia, they will try to burn the plantation, that is palm tree, after they cultivate for almost 10 to 10 years. Just imagine the palm tree plantation has been carried out. It will grow, it will give you a palm oil. I mean, palm oil, for palm oil production, Indonesia is a very very good spot actually. I mean, they are the most producers of palm oil. Okay, when you see that particular plantation, they will burn it because they want to put another set of plantation on that particular area, because there won't be any cultivation after 10 years. So when they try to burn it, all the fumes will come and reach the Singapore and Malaysia, where the people will be affected with the dust emissions. So it will form like a smog, because the people will try to burn it at the plantation, and they want to replant the new plants. Okay, so obviously because of these activities, what happened, the people could not able to go out. The particular matter emission will be very high in that particular country, because of the country which has done that particular burning. Okay, so well, the other country will get affected. So why I'm trying to say, the nations, the United Nations, the main objective is to make sure all has been following a certain standards so that it will not affect the other environment, because the air pollution is not only a problem for one country, it's problem for everywhere. Okay, even the nuclear bombs, so just imagine if it has been bombarded, okay, it will not only affect the radiation will affect the neighboring countries as well. Okay, why I'm trying to say all this is that we should be very careful on global climate change. Global climate change is not only meant for rule for need to be done only for one. Everyone need to cooperate. Okay, for the sustainability to not affect the ecosystem of the earth. Okay, and coming to the climate change and monsoon, Indian summer monsoon vital for agriculture, water, livelihoods, increasing variability, altered rainfall patterns, and extreme events. Okay, key sign of warning: higher frequency of heat waves, reduced snow cover and glaciers, increasing extreme precipitation, even rising sea levels. So, key sign: so water level is getting increases, sea level is getting increases, low-lying countries are maybe getting affected. Extreme precipitation, that means the rainfall will be very high. Sometimes the rainfall makes flooded, and that need to be avoided. Reduce snow cover. Okay, so and glaciers, so once the snow cover is reduced, obviously sea level is getting increased, because this snow already up, placed in polar region, right, Arctic and Antarctic part. Okay, so this should not be reduced. High frequency of heat waves, and during even in normal climate like July and August in subtropical region like India, we have water heat waves. If there is no fan, we could not able to survive in daytime. And suddenly there is this is very hotter when compared to April or May. Okay, so in July month, just imagine. Okay, so these are the things you need to consider. These are the signs of warming of earth is getting more heated up, and if the pattern is changing, okay, we could not able to predict the climate, and the weather is different, and climate what we analyze is different, obviously that will lead to a lot of changes. Okay, I mean we the human made activities and the human activities will be getting affected. For example, I am planning to travel for tomorrow night, just imagine. Okay, when actually there is no it's not a rainy season, suddenly it rains like rainy season and it's getting flooded, the people will be getting affected because their planning of activities may get affected, right? So these are the things, the signs of warming is very important, you need to consider actually, and what is the root cause for that particular type of warming, you need to identify and then start it out. The science of climate change, observation, modern instruments and satellites. Obviously, we are well established satellites, established what you call techniques, technologies we have. Okay, we have our own Indian satellites and predicting the climate. Meteorology department is monitoring the things. Okay, and we have a radar station, and we could be able to predict the when what you call what do you call the catastrophe like um, cyclone may arise, and these things may attack and everything we are monitoring, right? So but at the same time we should be very careful. Okay, we could able to protect it, but we could not able to stop it, right? So if by ocean, I mean cyclone comes, okay, we could able to safeguard ourselves in a safer location, and we could not able to against the things by against the nature. That's the thing. The global climate change. Okay, if you are affecting the things, it's very difficult to recover back or protect ourselves from the natural calamities. That you need to understand. Okay, the models simulate future scenarios, attribution, separating human versus natural influences. Global impact, agriculture, ecosystem, water. Agriculture, stress on crops and food security. Yesterday's I've seen news, actually the people, agriculture farmers have agitated, and the wheat crops are like especially rice. Okay, they have cultivated, I mean, rice crops they have cultivated getting flooded because of the rain, because of the rain. It's not a rainy season, but they don't have a production. Okay, if it is a rainy season, they could able to understand actually. Okay, so these are the crops is getting affected, and the people getting could not able to economically become weak, and things like that. They go for agitation. This all happens because of the changes in climate. Okay, so they because they could not able to predict it will rain, right? Obviously the crops, the cultivation they will put during the summer, they don't cultivate the things unless otherwise the crops needed water. Okay, for example the sugar cane. Okay, so So then the farmers knows actually when the particular crops need to be cultivated and what is the season. Okay, when it will grow faster, what is the climate is needed. Okay, even I can say give an example for rose. Okay, you could not able to cultivate. I mean. Grow the plant rose plant actually to get a rose in all the parts of the region. Okay, so because it needs a climate, it should be in a shadow, especially in the what you call the hill station. It will grow faster, the rose, and the water should not be stagnant. Okay, and it should not require much water. I mean, not much water. What I mean is that it should not water should not be stagnant on that particular plantation. It will spoil. Okay, so this climate is very important factor on the crops cultivation. Okay, so I just give an example for rose. Just imagine for what is the climate which is needed for rice, wheat, wheat, and so on and so forth. Okay, what is the ecosystem? Shifting changes, risk to biodiversity, water, increased droughts. Okay, floods, water stress. This all happen because of the global impact. So affect health, economy, infrastructure, development, disappropriate effects on vulnerable and developing regions. Uncertainties and challenges. Regional prediction other than global. Feedstocks like cloud ocean currents add complexity, need for improved observation and integrated approaches. Uncertainties, regional prediction other than global. So for example, okay, so when this particular climate, okay, will be like very cold. I was in my France in 2013. I visited there actually, where I find the climate is 8 degree when I landed in France, Paris airport. When I come out, I find it very chilly. But at the same time, when I talked to my aunt, she told actually during December, or because I went on October, during December it will go less than 0 degrees Celsius, -4, and so on and so forth. Okay, just imagine why I'm trying to say the climate. Climate is very important. So the very difficult. For example, the global climate we could able to predict, but at the same time, the regional prediction added than the global. For example, particular place like in Chennai, okay, or particular spot in France, okay, or particular place in Russia or in US. I want to predict the climate. Okay, it's very difficult. That's what they mean. Uncertainties and challenges. Regional prediction other than global. Feedstocks add complexity. Example: cloud, ocean currents, feedbacks. Okay, sorry, not feedstocks, feedbacks. Example: clouds, ocean currents add complexity. Need for improved observation and integrated approaches. Climate in the spotlight. Takeaway: the climate change is a scientific and societal challenge. Okay, is a scientific and societal is a scientific challenge as well as a societal challenge. Evidence proposed urgent need for awareness and action. Okay, the people aware, everyone aware because of the activities of the human only. But what are the steps they have taken in order to control that particular global gas emission? Okay, so that is very important. It's a part of the government initiative. It's not only a part of government initiative; it's a human initiative as well. Because the global the greenhouse gases is not only produced because of the human activities; it also because of the natural means. But as I told you, how the water is can be able to regenerate its original position, even we just discharge a small amount of concentration of waste into it. Okay, it will recover back. Okay, similarly, if a small amount of carbon footprint has been added to the global to the environment, it will recover back. But unfortunately, what happened because of the industrialization, large amount of industrialization around the globe, the climate, the Earth could not able to regain back this climate. Okay, so regain back to its position. Because of that, global warming, everything is happening. Okay, the future depends on global cooperation. As I told you, it's not only one country responsibility; it's a global cooperation. That's why the United Nations comes into picture, and they have been having a negotiation with the different countries, and the people have been coming with the different protocols like Montreal Protocol, Kyoto Protocol, and so on and so forth. But a few countries have been signing that agreement. Few countries not signing the agreement. Okay, so the global cooperation is very important. We are growing for the sustainability, and for that, everyone around the globe, okay, need to cooperate. Global cooperation is very essential. Okay, for the global avoid the global climate change. Okay, innovation and education. We need to teach them the next generation what would be the consequences, how to bring back the sustainability. Bring back the environment and make the system sustainable. Okay. Okay, that is very, very important. So with this note, I just conclude today's the first subtopic of what we have seen in today's class about the climate change. Hopefully, we will see with the next subtopic unit 1. Okay, with this note, I just try to stop my lecture. Okay, we will see in next lecture very shortly. Thank you very much.